Hello, hello, hello from Dumaguete, Philippines. We'll see who we can get before I really start talking. If anybody shows up this afternoon. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Michael. I'm from the United States and I'm currently living abroad in Dumaguete, Philippines. Beautiful day. Beautiful, beautiful day. Hey, Niels. Welcome, 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 Niels. Nice to see you. First one here. Who knows? Maybe the only one here. I guess audio should be good. I got my AirPods in to kind of cancel out any background noise, and hopefully the video is good too. Um, Festival's still going on here. Just was out walking around, kind of hanging out under this little tarp for some shade. But yeah, the festival's still going on here in Dumaguete. Um, did some walking, had my coffee. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, Niels. Again, it's hot. But when you have the shade, it makes it or shade plus the breeze from the ocean makes a world of a difference. It's probably why I prefer, walking here in Dumaguete because I can basically be here at the boulevard, walking all along the coast, up along the Silliman College, all the way up. I'm always along the water, so you always have that breeze. Smells good from the ocean. But yeah, it's another blue sky. You got this weird dark little thing, but that's typical Philippines. I guess you call it scattered potential thunderstorms, but I don't think anything's coming anytime soon. Let's hope not anyway. But how's things with you, Niels? How are things going for you? I guess it's 12:30 East Coast time, so maybe like 9:30 for you in California, if I got that right. But thanks for being here, Nils. I wasn't sure who I'd get. I never know who I get on a day-to-day basis, but that's all right. Kind of like you know, I just do random. When I'm on my break, this is my time to do the live stream and see what happens. Nothing special, although this week, today is Sunday here in the Philippines. Sunday 1:30 in the afternoon. Um, Che and I will be going to Sikihor. Not sure which day this upcoming week. We'll pick whatever day looks best, hop on a fast boat, and 40 minutes from basically there, fast boat, the whole way across. I don't know if you can see the island over there, but that's Sikihor. So we'll take that 40-minute boat trip and spend the day there. Some once in a while, we'll probably spend the night in Sikihor, but right now we don't need to. And obviously, you can be smart with your money and you know there's no point in us spending the night. We can just hop on the latest boat that comes back to Dumaguete later in the evening. So at least get 8+ hours. Whether we pick a beach, whether we pick a waterfall, we'll see what we end up doing. Uh, I think at least if we took pick a certain beach location, there's like readily available restaurants, places to eat right on the beach. Whereas if you take a waterfall, I'm not so sure if you from what I can remember when I went to that Kumbahaya Falls when I was there before, not so sure if they have any accessible food right there. So it's kind of like maybe one of those situations, either you make sure you eat enough early in the morning, but uh, you have to be up probably around 6 or something to be at the port to get on the boat rather early. I don't think that's something we want to be late for, but uh, we got Wenny Chengdu. Hey, Wenny, I remember you. You're from China. You're living here in the Philippines, going to school. Thank you so much for being here in my live stream. It might be a small one. It might be a short one. I'm not so sure, Wendy, but I appreciate Wenny. I appreciate you being here, hanging out with me. I'm just at the boulevard. I do my daily walking and then I take a break. Coffee break, iced coffee. I got a iced Spanish latte. And then I come over to here to do my live streams just because I like the background and the scenery. And I mean, like I said, the festival is still going on. It was packed yesterday. I'm always a little bit cautious and apprehensive about walking around too much because I can potentially, I'm using smart eSIM card and I don't want to lose the signal. And then there goes the live stream. But you are one of, I don't know, maybe only one person here. So you might be flying solo with me for the time being. But, you know, there's other people doing live streams too. So it happens. But I'm going to try walking around this corner and people keep me updated on the signal. Maybe I can go a little further, but we'll see. Um, but it is beautiful. It's always a beautiful day here. But like I said, I don't think a lot of this starts until 6 o'clock. So it's still a little early, but it is a Sunday, so you have a decent amount of people out right now. But yeah, it's the what is it called? The San Dorant Festival here in Dumaguete. Um, I'm not sure how long the actual festival goes on, but I know all these vendors and tents that you see down here. Oh, they'll be, these stay up until after Christmas, after the New Year. But a lot of the concerts and the stages they have set, I don't think that goes on that long. I think maybe that's just the weekend festival theme. But they had the parades and the dancing and stuff the other day. Um, let me see. Hmm. Yesterday, I attended the festival in Sultan Kudarat. We got Alpha Red to your voices, music to my ears. Are you diabetic? No, I'm not diabetic. I'm a very healthy individual. I'm not even close to being a diabetic. I watch what I eat. I don't drink. I don't smoke. What else can I tell you? I'm picky about what I eat and I walk about 10 miles plus a day. So uh, that would suck if I was a diabetic after doing all that. But I know you're just kidding. I'm glad I'm music to your ears. Um, no, I'm very picky. I don't know. Hey, Alpha Red, have you been in the live streams before? You kind of look familiar, but I'm not sure because Red, I've seen, Red, is a part of their name, Red, in the account. But yeah, there's a decent amount of people out for a Sunday afternoon in the Philippines because it is still warm out. I don't mind the heat, but a lot of people here do mind it. And I get it. So, like I said, a lot of this stuff. Hey, well, welcome, Alpha Red. Where are you from, Alpha Red? I appreciate you being here. Yeah, I think that's one of the things I like about the Philippines, other than the fact uh, I'm from the United States and I was a healthy picky eater there, but I'm also a healthy picky eater here. And I love Philippine food, so that's a good thing. I don't little chess championships going on here. People playing chess championships. Alpha Red, I'm in Dumaguete, Philippines. Um, this is the Sandarat Festival. Um, a lot of these vendors that you see, they'll be here until after the new year. The festival part with the concerts and stages, there's a lot of clothes. Some are new, secondhand clothes. Then you got clothes that you would think are authentic, but they're actually fake. I didn't know that until one of my local Philippine friends told me that, which was good. But yeah, that's the exact location. Dumaguete, Philippines, Negros Oriental. This is actually the place right here that I was looking at. I like this one shirt. I was like, oh, this is really nice. And then I looked at it. It was my friend said, Michael, that's fake. You don't want to buy that. I was like, well, I do like it, even though it's fake, but He said it's too expensive for fake. I was like, all right. But yeah, it's beautiful here today. I mean, the weather's been very favorable. The weather's been very favorable for, I'd say, at least a week. We've had a little for rain season because it is technically still rain season, but I think I think rain season ends like December, but I think we're already seeing signs that maybe, I don't want to jinx it, or the worst is behind us. But again, this week, Shay and I gonna go from the port, which is over there, all across the water. If you can see that island right there, that's Siki Hor. We're gonna be going there this week. Not sure which day, and then either pick a waterfall or a beach. Uh, Winnie says, "Yeah, I see you're healthy. Thank you. I appreciate that." And again, Alpha, thanks for being here. If you're not a subscriber, hey, feel free to subscribe. Everybody becomes friends here. That's pretty much it. Josh is here. Hello, Josh. Welcome. Yeah, it's just me, myself, and I, and whoever else is in here joining me. But yeah, I'm walking. I'm taking a leap of faith here, hoping my signal stays strong and the audio works, and of course the video. But I know I got you here to let me know if things get a little shaky. But how you doing, Josh? He says you've already walked more in this live than I walked all day. I actually did a lot of my walking already, and I did my first coffee break. I stopped and got coffee at my one of my two favorite coffee shops in Dumaguete. There's a place called But First Coffee, which is basically a couple blocks from here, and then there's Cohi Coffee, but they're closed on Sundays. So I don't really have a choice. So I went to Bud First, got my Spanish latte, and I'm good to go. Um, but thank you, Josh. Appreciate you being here, my friend. Uh, Alpha says, I'm from Milky Way Galaxy, Solar System, Earth, Asia, Southeast Asia, Philippines, Luzon, Cagayan Valley, Region 2, Nueva Vizcaya, Ariato. Damn, you're from all over the place, but welcome. I don't know if I'll be able to remember that. So don't quiz me on that, Alpha, because I'm sure maybe the only thing I remember is Milky Way Galaxy. You're from outer space, so are you trying to tell me you're an alien or something? And I believe anything's possible these days. But thanks again, Alpha, for being here. Subscribe, give me a like. Yeah, if you like it, you don't have to. Um, Jason, Ghost Hunter's here. Hey, my friend. Hi there. Dropping to say hello from Sydney, Australia. Thank you for being here, joining me as I walk around the festival. I know you guys don't want to look at me. See, that's like one of those concert stages they had set up. Che and I weren't here last night, but they had one there. They had one there. There's a lot going on last night. I would like to come back later this evening. I don't know how late we'll stay, but yeah, it's the Sand de Route Festival. That's what it is here. And I saw pictures on Facebook, and this place was packed. It's kind of cool. You can see a plane going into make a landing probably at Dumaguete Airport. But yeah, you see this weird dark cloud right up the middle. Then it's blue here, dark, kind of a little more dark over there. But you have to watch it sometimes just when you don't think these things are going to hit. And all of a sudden, within minutes, it's a downpour. But then it goes away and it's gone, and your day just continues on. So it's not that big of a deal. Uh, But Jason, thank you for being here. J Boy's here. I know J Boy. Hello, Michael. Looks like a beautiful day. Yeah, it is. It's freaking awesome. This is why I'm here. I mean, I like warm weather. Well, I shouldn't say warm, hot weather, oceans, and the opportunity to visit tropical islands. Obviously, there's over 7,000 in the Philippines. I obviously won't live long enough to visit all of them, but I know there's a lot of them. I don't know the exact. They say are uninhabitable, but I would like to visit the main ones. when that opportunity presents itself. That's why Che and I are taking the easy trip right behind me to Sikihor tomorrow. Like I said, 40-minute boat ride over, 40-minute boat ride back. We'll either pick a waterfall or a beach. Little Boracay Beach there, Palau Tau. There's like so much to see on such a little island. So day trips are fun. It's not very expensive to take a boat over there. I can let you guys know what the cost is when we actually do the trip. I want to make a video of that, but thanks for being here, Jay Boy. Josh Wilson says I made it from the bed to the recliner today. Well, hey, that's you got to start somewhere, Josh. That's hey, you're making the effort. I'm glad you made it that far. But yeah, that's what it's called, the Sandalwood Festival. Again, I don't know if that lasts past the weekend, but everything else, all the vendors and stuff that you see, the clothes and the tents, that goes on, I think, until after the new year, if I remember correctly. Because last year was my first Christmas in the Philippines away from the United States. So, and it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. People say, didn't you just miss a little snow? Maybe a little bit, but that's the only time I ever wanted snow was on Christmas as I got older. Just a little dusting of white snow, and that's good enough. Uh, we got Steve here. Steve, I don't know if you're new, but I appreciate you being here. Steve says, buddy, he went from general to more specific. Yeah, if you're talking about what's his name here, Alpha Red, he was definitely specific on where he's from. He's from all over the place, and that's all right. I'm not from all over the place, but he's been a lot more places than me. I'm actually jealous. Steve also says there are more islands in the US. You know what? I would, I don't, you know what? You know more than I do. I can honestly say I haven't been to that many islands in the US. I specifically remember one island off the coast of Georgia. It's called Jekyll Island, Georgia. I was there many, many years ago when I was younger with a family trip. So, yeah, that was fun. And obviously fun enough for me to remember Jekyll Island. Steve retracted his messages. That's all right, Steve. You didn't have to retract it. You're more than welcome, Steve. We're always open to people coming into the live stream, meeting new people. Nice. Jay Boy says, nice. Live your best life full of positivity. That's the way I look at it. I'm always happy. Like I said, I can simply be happy just walking around. Um, obviously, I love walking. Obviously, I'm looking forward to our trip tomorrow. I had to be a little patient just because Che and I finally got settled into an apartment. And now with the weather, well, I'm glad we're not going today because that maybe caused problems over there at Sikihor, but we're going to monitor it. Maybe Wednesday, the middle of the week, we'll head to Sikihor. And again, she's never been there. So that'll be kind of exciting. I've been there a couple times, but there's so much to see on such a little island. It's just conveniently a boat ride away. So, yeah. Josh says, have you shown the apartment yet? No, I haven't. Let me ask you this, Josh. I'm probably going to do it because Chase said I should. When we do the apartment, we're obviously going to show what comes along with the apartment. There's a swimming pool, there's a gym, and some other stuff. So I'm gonna do it. Probably show everything up into the apartments last because it's very small. But again, for me, as long as it's a nice, clean apartment, as long as you have more than two people, which it's just me and Che, you don't need anything big unless you need the comforts of a bigger home. Um, if you plan on, in my opinion, spending a lot of time in your apartment, you might need more stuff to entertain you while you're in your apartment. I like to get up, get a shower, eat breakfast, out the door, do my exercise routine, walking, get my coffee. Che and I hook up at some point. She handles the grocery shopping basically and preparation for meals. I can cook and I like to cook, so it's not an issue. I just let her do it because that's what she wants to do. And if I introduce her to an American cuisine, I basically only have to show her once, and she basically does it on her own. She remembers. So, uh, yeah. Uh, Josh says, I figure the day you move in, the other landlord would say, this place is ready. His place is ready. Yeah, I think you're talking about the other apartment that I was supposed to get that I was holding out for, living in a hotel for basically a month. I mean, I get it though, Josh. I can't be critical of the way things are here in the Philippines. That's just one of those things that growing up in the United States, we're used to getting everything for the most part, like quickly. And when people kind of give a timeline or a deadline, we expect it. I kind of had a feeling that it wouldn't be ready on November 15th. And then he kind of said maybe another week or two. And I just couldn't take that chance. So I just said, hey, let's just go live in the Marina Spatial, an apartment that I'm familiar with. Let's just go there and see how it works out. And yeah, it has a pool, it has a gym. If it didn't have a gym, I would be paying a membership to go to a gym. So that kind of cancels that out. But yeah, I'll do a video of the apartment. I know a lot of people, expats and people like informational videos like that anyway to see what they'd be paying. And again, it's a lot less expensive here to live here to rent than it is obviously in the United States. But it is small. Again, that's something that's up to the individual. They can either handle the small apartment or they can't. I don't need much here. So that's kind of the way I feel about it. But everybody's different. Um, Josh says, oh, never mind. I did read that. John Jackson says, good day from Brisbane, Australia. Hello, John Jackson. I remember you. Welcome back. I appreciate you coming back. I was wondering, do they ever fish from the shore there? Like where I'm at right here? Yeah, they fish. I wish I could find some. Sometimes they have a fishing pole. Sometimes they just have the fishing line and they're just holding it with their hand or putting some sort of bait on it. Um, Usually it's anywhere along here. That would be kind of entertaining if I could find somebody that was actually fishing right now. Um, I see a couple guys way down the other end, but I don't know if they're fishing. But yeah, they do that. I like it because the water's so clear here. And if you're just looking for fish, you can see fish on occasion if you get lucky. Um, but yeah, I don't see anybody fishing, but they'd go all along here, anywhere along here. A lot of times you see the guys on the boats putting the uh, fish nets out there and stuff like that. And I don't see anybody right now, which is kind of odd. Usually you see at least one person on this long stretch here, but yeah, I don't see anybody. This place should be pretty packed here tonight. Like, the things will pick up. Pretty much most of the people here are the workers. Uh, but again, John, thank you for being here. Then we got Exomi Red Me. Not sure if familiar with you. Got a couple of the wild looking emojis, but thanks for stopping by. Um, just Michael from the United States, live here in the Philippines, just chat away about anything and everything on my walking coffee break, which I already drank my coffee. John Jackson says, can you buy fishing gear there? Yeah, I honestly don't know specifically where. Can't remember, but I know with all the walking I've done, I have seen places that have it. Maybe not so much here in Dumaguete City. I've never noticed that much. I definitely noticed it in like Dowan, places a little further south, like when you get the Bakong, Dowan, along the southern tip of Negros Oriental. I definitely do dive-in shops. I remember seeing those. Um, but that was briefly just because I was on the back of a motorbike and I wasn't really paying attention. Uh, Yeah, like if I really wanted to fish, I could just get some line, fishing line with some type of sinker on it, something to put it down there. Or I don't know if they use bobbers here or not. I never noticed anybody using bobbers much, but the water's so clear right here, so I'm sure maybe that's why some of these guys are so skilled. They just kind of watch it and they can just see as soon as something gets close, they pull up. But I mean, obviously, as long as I mean, it's kind of cloudy and you still, you know, can see in the water. It still is pretty beautiful here. Um, Steve says, relative to other things, gyms are expensive in Manila compared to the USA and other things here and there. Yeah, I've never actually been to Manila, so I couldn't. You probably obviously maybe have more knowledge or experience in Manila as far as gym prices go and what it costs daily or monthly. I know it's different. Like I've gone to some cheaper gyms that don't have aircon, so they're like really a lot cheaper than the newer ones. There's a new one called 24/7 here in Dumaguete that I don't even know what it is, but it has aircon. Trying to remember what I paid for a day when I was going to this other gym before. It's maybe 100 pesos or 125 or something. No more than 150, I think, for the day. And if I remember correctly, you could actually leave. If you left, you could come back in, and that counted towards the whole day. But yeah, I guess that would make more sense if Manila's a bigger city. It's probably more expensive there. But again, I'm not 100% certain on that. Um, yeah. Steve, I assume I could ask. I walk by there all the time. That 24/7, I think it's 24/7, unless you're just being funny. But yeah, I think it's 24/7, although that's what it's called. Um, Yep, that would be the hours, Steve. Josh says, surprised there aren't any entertainers in here. I just think because it's too early, Josh. Obviously, one of our good friends, John W., younger Filipino, he's a very good singer, dancer. That guy, he can do everything. Very talented individual. But yeah, like I said, it's still early. A lot of people are still in the process of, I don't know, maintenance guys working on the lights and stuff for this stage. Um, a lot of other people are like just starting cooking food, chicken, barbecue, stuff like that. So it's still early. I mean, 2 o'clock. Yeah, still a while to go. Beeline Brian is here. Says afternoon, Michael. How you doing, Beeline Brian? I'm doing great. Just taking a break. Just showing. I just like looking at the water, the way that how pretty it looks when the sun's out. Trying to do a little more walking with you on the live stream to not be so boring. Um, but yeah, the water looks really good. Obviously, you need the sun to make it look this good, but not murky or muddy or anything like that. Weird dark clouds way over there, but potentially, I'm sure you can tell it's raining over there, but it's not over here. But the way the wind's blowing, I think it is coming this way because I feel a little cooler air as well. So that could get interesting. Then over there, it's like a whole other world. But this is typical. It's like you got right half down the middle, that, and then it's. But Brian says, good mate, just enjoying Sunday. Yeah, me too. Um, we've just been having some great weather, but like I said, I don't know what's coming with that, but um, I would like to think the rain season is slowly coming to an end. The but this is could be. I don't know. It is coming kind of fast. I can feel the temperature in the air slightly cooler. It's pretty looking, but could be like a torrential downpour with some wind included. Steve says, "How deep is the water there? Think I can see the bottom." Oh yeah, I would. I don't know, 5 to 8, maybe 5 foot right here. Maybe not even that, but probably like five. I'd guess because you got these a lot of rocks here, at least right up along the wall here. I think as you go out the rock, I think they dump them in there just to protect the wall and keep everything from washing away. But I would guess, 4 feet, maybe 3 feet. Don't look that deep. I never jumped in there, but like you can see that rock sticking out right there. I don't think it's too deep. I've seen people jump in here just for the sake of jumping in. Um, and Che's here. Hello, Che. Everybody say hi to Che. You guys all know who Che is. That would be my girlfriend. She's checking in, supporting the channel. Just keeping an eye on this potential. I don't know. But like I'm facing it and the wind's blowing in my face. So I gotta figure this is coming this way. It's kind of weird. It's almost like it's not moving. And then Beeline, Brian says we are having a wet summer here. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one of the advantages I like. Well, obviously where you're at, it's always summer here, although it's like rain season. Yeah, this is kind of freaky. Wild looking. This is the Philippines, to be expected, but the breeze feels awesome. I mean, you can tell like just by that we got a nice breeze. Ryan says hi to Che. J Boy says hi, Che. Oh boy, yeah, you know the oh boy, don't you, there, J Boy? J Boy's J Boy knows oh boy. Yeah, I'd say yesterday was kind of an oh boy kind of day. Um, not on my live stream. Uh, yeah. Ryan says, "Kamusta." Is that like "Kamusta ka"? How are you? Uh, I prefer this time of the year. Yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm just like I said. I just don't want to travel to another island and then be, you know, have this happen. I mean, that's the only thing. It's kind of hard to plan trip sometime, and I don't want my parade rained on, basically. But we'll see. It's just weird. Still looks like it's going that way instead of coming this way. It's kind of odd, but it is pretty looking, even though it's a storm cloud. So you do the 360 spin. It's like wow. Um, at least it's yeah, Brian. At least it's not too humid. Um, yeah, you're right. I met a guy here that like I don't know within the week. His name was Michael, same as mine. He was born and raised, lived in Florida. And I asked him, how did you compare the weather here to Florida's hottest days? He thought, he's a lifer in Florida. I only lived there for 2 years. He thought the humidity could be worse in Florida. And I found that to be interesting. He said it's hotter here. Obviously, the sun's stronger because you're closer to the equator. But it was interesting to hear him say that he thought it would actually be it's more humid in Florida than here. And I live in Florida. I don't see much of a difference humidity wise. Hot wise, yeah. But anyway, if anybody's ever wondering if they think it would be more humid here, I'd say it's very similar. But when you're by the water and you have this breeze, I love this. This is great. Steve says, oh yeah, Brian says up to March. Or Steve says, when my brother-in-law was a kid, he dove for coins the tourists threw in the water. Well, he was probably smart. As a, when he was a kid, I guess what it was like, those water fountain wishing well kind of things where people would throw their money in it. And then I remember seeing kids doing that. I was even tempted as a kid, they had those wishing well water fountain kind of places that people threw coins in. I wouldn't be surprised if when I was so young, I can't remember doing it, but I wouldn't be surprised if I ever put my hand and scrape some money out of there. That's funny though. John Jackson says, I would love to move to the Philippines. I was thinking I would need to some activities to do there. So I love fishing. You can fish, tennis. A lot of people play pickleball. If you like tennis, you like pickleball. I think both. Uh, Hiking, they got that here. Mountain bike ride, they got that here. Can you do these? You can do all of them here. Yep, you can do all. Like in the waterfalls, you're in mountains. One waterfall I went to that I had video of. You didn't know what to expect. Some waterfalls you go to, you show up, they're man-made, perfectly cleared path, man-made steps. It's just easy. This one, Gary and I went to, my friend who lives in Bacolod, it was a challenge. It was rocky. It wasn't. We paid for a tour guide, and that was probably smart because we both probably would have gotten lost. And it was the best waterfall hike. And then when you got to the end, after you went over mountains alongside of a cliff with not much room, and I'm not exaggerating, if you watch the video on my channel, which more people didn't watch it, I guess maybe once you've seen one waterfall video, you've seen them all. But it was challenging. You had to climb a little bit, and I had my phone recording, making the video in one hand, so I only had one hand free. You really had to pay attention. It was very rocky. You could twist your ankle very easily. The satisfaction you got, and I'm sure you guys, some of you have heard me say this before, the challenge of that hike, and then the beauty that you got at the end, this waterfall that was so high and spraying. I mean, it was absolutely one of the funnest things that I've done, and I'm here to explore. I haven't done much yet, but that's about to change like really soon. Like hopefully this week, unless something crazy happens with the weather. But um, we'll see. But I think we should be good to go. But yes, you can do all that, John. Um, if you like hiking and waterfalls and just seeing beautiful nature, and I've only ever seen monkeys once since I've been here, and that was actually near Valencia, that's close to here. There's like a couple of them. I was on a motorbike and we kind of saw them and we slowed up and we saw, I don't know what kind of monkeys they were. They weren't like chimpanzees or something like that. They were bigger but long. I don't remember. I'd have to ask. But I did see monkeys once, so I can always say I saw monkeys. NHA says, hello, insert name. Sorry, I forgot your name. I'm good. And how are you? That would be Brian. Brian says they do that on Boracay and Bison. My apologies if I butcher. Uh, and then Jay says the J boy, oh boy. Yeah, we know about the oh boy when Jay says oh boy and why she says oh boy. Brian says diving for coins, throw from tourist boats. Oh, could you imagine that? Just seeing people jumping overboard. See, now I got to keep paying attention this way. I don't know. It's definitely darker, but I still haven't felt any drip drops. Yeah, but very beautiful. There's a boat. Uh, Brian says, I'm good, thanks. Josh says, makes me think of the wishing well from Goonies. Exactly. Goonies was awesome. I can't even tell you how many times I've ever watched that. It was usually a replay on some, I don't know if it was on Peacock or I think it was on Apple TV, but Goonies was the best. But yeah, I always prefer the wishing well part, but then when they were underground and then they got to the wishing well, they didn't realize it at first. They thought they found the treasure, and it was that's my wish, you know. That was Goonies is awesome. That's an awesome movie. Um, Steve says, "How much time have you spent in the Philippines?" I've been here, Steve, a total of. I got here in July of 2024. Stayed until March of 27th or 2025, March 17th of this year. I went back home to the US, take care of some things, came back June 17th, or got back in Dumaguete around the 19th. So like 13 months total in the Philippines, 13 to 14. So I'm still a newbie, still learning, which you know, that's um you can watch other people's channels and get the 5 to 7 to 10 year plus experience, advice, opinion on the Philippines, and then you can get the new guys like myself who's still in the early stages. I've only lived in two locations. When I say lived, been there for several months. I've lived in Dumaguete the majority of the time, and 4 months I lived in Bacolod, which is same island but Negros Occidental, the other half northwest part of this island that I'm on now, whereas Dumaguete's in basically southeast. Um, for Dumaguete, much better between the two, and that's why we kind of came back here. Um, now the dark's over me. Uh, but yeah, like I'm still very new, but I I have 13 months worth of experience, if that's what you want to call it. And I can only give my opinions and experiences from myself here. That's it. Um, but I encourage anyone who's ever looking to try visiting the Philippines or even Asia, not even here, do it. I'd never been here before, and for me, it's the best decision I ever made. I love it here. I'm so much happier and certainly less stressed than I was when I was living in the US. That's for darn sure. Plus, I'm a warm weather person too. Like, I like warm weather. So I guess for anybody, if you don't like warm weather, this probably isn't the place for you to be um, year round. But I like that. I like being in shorts and t-shirt and yeah, never getting cold. Uh, There's a few things I miss about the US. People always ask me, and I'm like, certain foods, certain quality of foods. And then I miss, obviously, my mother and father, family, but I can video chat them, talk to them FaceTime, you know. So if I didn't have that, that would probably be maybe a little more difficult, obviously. And sometimes you miss conversation. That's probably why I like live stream because it gives me an opportunity to have more conversation with you guys. So it gives me an opportunity to talk because I like to talk. Obviously, if I didn't, I wouldn't be. I don't think live stream would be very a good thing for me. You got to be able to talk, and obviously, you guys, I have comments and questions that helps. Um, so yeah, it's the best decision I ever made was coming here. But what I love most about the Philippines first would be the people. That's the first thing I can honestly say is the people. Then everything else, the obvious stuff, the weather, the cost of living, obviously, the opportunity to explore and see many other islands, and the opportunity to visit other countries as well. When I was living in Bacolod, a friend of ours went to Japan, which is a place that's on my list that I'd like to visit while I'm here in Asia. He said he went round trip to Japan for $200 USD. I don't know what it is now, but that was a couple months ago. But I mean, that's not bad from here to be able to go visit Japan if that's something you want to do for $200. Um, yeah, so yeah, I like living somewhere new, different. It's exciting. I wake up every day happy and excited to get my day rolling. And YouTube also, Steve, has been a blessing. I mean, it's fun. I enjoy it. Gives me something to do. Allows me to interact and have a community. We build a community here on YouTube. So again, I appreciate you being here. Steve. Let me see where I'm at. Uh, Brian says there is a river on the mainland near Boracay where you can spend a day swimming and lazying around with a beer in hand on an inner tube in the clearest fresh water. So obviously Boracay, that's very close to Gino Dazzle TV, right, Brian? I want to go to Boracay. Actually, I want to visit Gino and Dazzle, and I want to visit James and Karen at some point, and Michael White, all those guys. But Boracay looks that's something I think I'd enjoy. Now, obviously, Brian, you know me, I wouldn't have a beer in my hand, probably coconut water, some coconut smoothie, mango drink, or something to that extent. But yeah, or a coffee, that too, because I don't drink. Sorry, I'm boring like that. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. Um, that would be cool. I would enjoy that. Ryan says the kids hang on to the outriggers and the tourists throw coins for them. That's kind of cool. I would actually enjoy actually seeing that. Um, I didn't know that they did that. I've I've never seen a video. That'd be interesting if someone would have incorporated that into their YouTube video, like where they're throwing the money for kids. That would be kind of interesting to see. Checking this wall if I can sit down without this wall from the heat. You could cook an egg on it. So I had to test it before I sit. Um, John Jackson says, thank you. Which island is better to stay on to do on these activities like pickleball and hiking activities? Oh, watch your hiking video. You know what? I think there's a lot of them that you can do those particular things. I mean, I can't say which one would be the best. I think only you could determine that. I know what I've seen so far, which is very limited. Um, it's awesome. I'm in, experiencing things for uh, nature related. I'm experiencing things for the first time, and pickleball is a lot of fun. People are really into that here. There's a lot of places where you can play pickleball. Most people have to buy their own portable net, set it up, but it's simple. It's not that expensive. Um, Obviously, pickleball reminds me because I played tennis and I played racquetball. So that kind of reminds me, it's like a combination of both. It's the condensed court, the lines and the rules are a little different. And I wouldn't say it's as fast. It's not nearly as fast as racquetball, but tennis is probably even faster because the ball goes a lot faster, whereas the pickleball is fast. But you strike it right, it goes fast. Um, But that's like a real great thing to play because it brings a lot of people together. Most people play 2-on-2, mixed doubles or whatever, but or just one-on-one. It's more fun, even though it's such a smaller court. But to be honest with you, John Jackson, there are so many. I felt a raindrop. I'm just gonna make sure I don't get rained on. But there's a lot of places that you can go. Um, Different islands, so many that you can check out, John Jackson. Um, I know a lot of foreigners come here to Dumaguete to start off just because it's like the more common, well-known place for a lot of people just seem to come first. And maybe that's why sometimes a lot of foreigners don't like coming to Dumaguete because they think there's too many foreigners here, which I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me. But again, that's one of those things where it's up to you. It's what matters to you most. I can only give you my opinion, but someone else's opinion might be different. And that's okay. That's what makes us all different. But you can get all that stuff everywhere, John. Brian says, John, there's heaps of islands that offer activities. Yeah, I go to Boracay as that's where my wife is from. And it's probably the biggest as far as tourism is concerned. Yeah. And see, that's the whole thing, too. Brian said it exactly. And it is starting to rain. So I'm going to try and get under one of these tarps. Uh, you just have to figure out what is most important to you. Um, and Brian says exactly like Boracay is beautiful. I love being there, but some people don't like it because it's too touristy. They're more interested in more secluded private islands. And I get that. Sometimes I don't mind being around a lot of other people, and sometimes I just want to be more alone. So yeah, that happens. But it's no big deal. I'm gonna try getting under this tarp. Um, Det says, "Hey, Michael and Shay. Hey, Det, how's it going, my friend? I'm just dodging a little bit of rain. I don't know. It might be bad. It might not be too bad, but it's funny though. Sometimes you get under these tarps and the wind grabs them and they blow away. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, see, it's like there, and then this is what we're getting rained on right there. But then it's blue over there. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Yeah. But welcome, Det. Thanks for being here. Uh, he says hi to Michael and Shay. Brian says, "Where are you?" And Rissy John that says, "I'm worried today about last night. I hope Lynn is okay." That not going to get into that, but me and Shay completely agree with you. I, I'll be honest with you. I didn't like seeing that last night. I don't, I don't agree with that. I only made one comment in the live stream after I saw that, and I just said, "Ray, that should be private," and I ended it at that. Which Yeah. I hope everything's okay, but I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like what I saw, but again, that's my opinion, and I hope both of them are okay. I hope Ray and Lynn are both okay. Um, but I agree that Brian says, "Uh-oh, Qantas flies to Manila from 480 to 560, usually one way." What is a quanta, Brian? I'm sorry, but I don't know what a quanta is. John says I'm in Ashgrove, Brisbane. Um, John's another new subscriber. Well, you're a friend. You're not a subscriber. You got to be careful. Anybody after you subscribe, you become friends. This is the community I want to build here. Now I got to get busy with the videos because I've been very lacking in that department. It's not too. I'm not like really getting rained on that bad. It's just drip drops. Um, Brian says, yes, Boracay is about 80 kilometers from Calibo. See, that's another thing. See, John, anybody who's new here, we get people in the community that are from the Philippines that are more knowledgeable than me that can give you some input. They add valuable content to my live streams. There's a lot of stuff. I'm a newbie. I can give you a newbie's perspective, but someone like Brian, he's more experienced than me. He's more familiar, more knowledgeable. So insert name here. There he is. I'm thankful for him. And then he says, okay, I'm Eagleby. Josh says, bet what happened with Lynn or bet. Yeah. J Boy says, if you drink, just make sure it's in moderation and not drink to get drunk. I'm not saying that's not why I don't drink. I just don't drink for my own personal health. I guess that's just me. And I appreciate because everybody's who they are. They're all an individual and we're all adults and you need to be responsible whether you do or you don't drink. Sometimes alcohol it can alter your personality. Let's just leave it at that. John Jackson says, I used to play cricket at Eagleby in the cane fields in the 90s in Beeline. That's cool. Cricket's a cool sport. I have no idea how to play it, but anything that involves some sort of thing you're smacking a ball, I'm in. I also really respect people that play rugby. That's a tough. I just like people that play tough sports. But golf isn't so much physical. Well, you got to be strong, but you got to be mental. You got to be smart with that too. I'm very interested in golf. When I was younger, I didn't probably pay too much attention to it, but as I got older, I was more interested in watching golf. Jay Boy says, John Jackson, you can do all those in most of the main islands. You just need to travel around to see which island you like best. You're exactly right, Jay boy. I mean, something, John, if you ever come to the Philippines, you're gonna have plenty of friends here. Me, everybody in this chat, which I'm appreciative of you guys being here and giving your input and helping me with John. That's what I like about live streams because I want to motivate and inspire people to live their life to the fullest. Try something different, get outside of your comfort zone, and just live life. Don't just talk about things you want to do. At least that's what I said to myself. Michael, don't just talk about it, take action. Or you're going to have regrets when you get older. Before you know it, life is going to, gonna be gone, fly by like nothing. Josh says there's basketball everywhere. Yes, you're right, Josh. There is basketball everywhere. They're very big on basketball, which I like basketball. J Boy, hold on. What did I miss? That's the thing. Maybe that's where I skipped around. Now it's kind of really, I'm going to get under here a little bit. But let me see here. Brian says we used to go there when we were kids, but it has actually moved. Boracay has a huge population of expats and tourists. But I'd still be willing, like I said, Brian, I'd still be interested in going, to the Boracay. Of course, I think it looks beautiful. When Gino was doing his live streams from there, I loved it, man. What a beautiful view. And I don't even care about the fact that there's tourists. It doesn't really bother me. And you won't know until you visit there and try it once anyway. Um, Jay Boy says you can fly Cebu Pacific return for $600 from Sydney. That's not bad. Hold on, I gotta wipe my phone. Oops. Brian says I prefer the quiet. Yeah, see, I mean, I guess I prefer the quiet, but sometimes I'm okay with going somewhere where there's more people. But if I have to choose between quiet or touristy, I'm gonna go with quiet. I think the majority of the foreigners that I've met here prefer quiet. But then again, I guess I don't know. Do people more are there more people that are social drinkers or do they prefer drinking alone? Like touristy people, those locations, maybe they party a little more, so they like being a lot more in a social atmosphere versus being by yourself. Just give me a coffee or a coconut water. I'll be a s- bloop, bloop, bloop. I'll be a social butterfly. Um, John Jackson says, "Thank you. I must go. I love your broadcast." So thanks, John Jackson. Wait. I hope you didn't leave yet because I just see, dude. Ah, humbled once again by John Jackson with the super chat. Um, I wish I could. See, why is it? I guess because it's your first one. I can't give it a heart or like it. I wouldn't. I mean, that's a very nice, humble. That's a generous thing for me. I would say I'm amazing. I'm just Michael. I'm what you see is what you get, and um, again, I'm humbled. I don't even know what to say. You didn't have to do that, but you did that, and I don't know what I do to deserve stuff like that, but I appreciate it. I wanted to get down to that because you said you had to go. God bless you, John Jackson. I look forward to seeing you again, and sharing our any information we can give you, and I hope we can twist your arm more and more to come here to the Philippines. Um, John Jackson, thank you. I must go. I love your broadcast. I love you being here. I appreciate it because without you, I don't have a broadcast. So thank you very, very, very much, John Jackson. Um, God bless you. That's for sure. That says Ray ended the live last night with a little argument with Lynn. Yeah, just a little bit. I wish he wouldn't have done that, but I'm gonna plead the fifth on that. Brian says, but with Cebu Pacific, you pay for extras like luggage and eating. I don't know if I've ever been on. I mean, I guess when I flew from Cebu to Dumaguete, I would have been on that. I'm not sure, but I guess. But well, obviously from Cebu to Dumaguete, that's a very short, quick flight, so there's no drinking or food or any extras like that. And I'm learning to travel light. Again, John Jackson, I appreciate your generosity. Thank you very much. Humbled once again. J Boy says, true insert name here, Brian. I only travel with a backpack. See, J Boy, that's what I'm learning. And that was a good experience. When I first came here on my first time here, I packed too much. Um, all you need to bring is those minor things or some personal items that you need, whatever that may be, that you maybe can't get here. But other than that, bring enough clothes to get you from there to here, honestly, and anything else you don't think you can get here, you can buy your clothes, your t-shirts, whatever, very cheap. And yeah, you don't really need to bring anything. Um, and now that I've been here for a little over a year, uh, I keep minimal stuff in the apartment. Typically women have more clothes than guys. And Jay, it's kind of funny because I joke with her. I'm like, you have more clothes than I do because I just know at any moment if you have to go somewhere, which is the nice advantage of renting. Um, at a moment's notice, you might have to be up and go. And I don't want to have a lot of stuff. I obviously want a furnished apartment. I don't want to get into buying furniture or anything like that. If you ever have to move, then you got to try and sell it or you got to try and move the stuff. That's too much work. That's not a convenient thing to put yourself in that position. And I know people that have moved already that are just renters, and it's a little bit of a hassle. Um, I don't need much here. That's another thing. Like I always tell people, I've become so uh, I'm not materialistic like I used to be. I mean, I was a product of my environment living in the United States, but now it's like completely different here. Um, you kind of break away from that, you know, need all the stuff you think you need or you want. Yeah, I guess, yeah. There's things that you want in life and the things that you need in life. And if you can separate those, at least for me, makes life so much easier, less stress here. Obviously you need your phone. That's just the product. That's just the way things are. Um, I need good walking shoes because I walk everywhere. So I spend a little more money on that. But these is clothes from home. You know, I bought some t-shirts here, no more than 200 pesos for a t-shirt. And anybody knows 200 pesos isn't a whole hell of a lot. Um, Brian says, I had my luggage lost and rifled once with CP, so that left a bad taste. I actually had my luggage lost too. Traveling from Pennsylvania to Florida, uh, all my luggage went to like Maine or New Hampshire, somewhere up north. So for like 2 days, I didn't have luggage, so I had to buy stuff when I got to Florida just to get me through 2 days, and that made me so angry. And that was putting stuff below, wasn't carry on, so I basically screwed myself. So after that, I was just like, even when I was traveling within the United States, I was like, I'm not packing anything anymore. But again, I made the mistake when I came here because I was going so far. And I thought plus a lot of the stuff I brought wasn't even for myself. I was bringing stuff for people that met prior to coming here, chocolate and extra stuff like that. Um, Qantas is an all in fare. Okay, all in fare. Brian says the Australian national airline is Qantas. See? I'm learning stuff, Brian, but 80 Ks takes possibly 2 hours as roads do not move fast. Fair. Okay. I got you. Frumbly Bumbly's here. Holy cow, Frumbly. Where in the world? I haven't seen you in a little bit. Oh, it seems like forever. I guess if I don't see people every day, I guess it feels like forever because I kind of been doing live streams daily, more than I've ever done, but I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. I'm under a tarp right now, Frumbly. I don't know how long you've been here waiting for this rain to kind of pass. But welcome, Frumbly. How's things going with you? Yo, yo to you, Frumbly. You're another friend of the community. Welcome back. Um, Debt says, I get drunk, but I see to it that I still carry myself, still aware of what I'm doing and saying, yeah, that's important. I mean, you have to know how to control yourself. And yeah, Jay Boy says, is Qantas airline really the national airline? Isn't it private and 50% owned by Emirates? Brian says, Jay Boy, you're probably right there, but still known as national carrier, I think. That explains the Emirates, I guess. Isn't that like a soccer team or they're a sponsor of some soccer team? I see those soccer jersey shirts all over the place here in the Philippines. Emirates. Jay Boy says, thanks, Brian. Uh, I see Jinx is here and Jinx retracted message. Where are you at, Jinx? You know you can leave a message. You're a friend here. How you doing, Jinx? I hope you're still here. Um, Brian says no Warriors, J boy. Brian says it's hard to be a non-drinker in the Philippines. Um, I guess it would be for someone that I haven't. People always ask me how long has it been since I drank. It's been years, over 20, over 20. Um, but even when I did drink, and I'm thinking to like my 30s, I didn't drink a lot. I was a social drinker, and I basically drank due to partially peer pressure, partially wanting to fit in, thinking I needed to because everybody else was doing it, so I wanted to do it just like again, I guess that's more peer pressure, but um, I guess I never really felt like I wanted to, or at those times when I think back to it, I would get sick, hungover. I wasn't one of those guys that could drink anything and everything and anything and never wake up with a hangover. I was I was hurting. So yeah, I paid the price. So I guess if I could have gotten patent was one of those special individuals that never got hung over, maybe I would have done it more. But I think that definitely was a negative against me. I think some people just can't do it. And sometimes I didn't even drink a lot. People used to say it was like the chemical that was in the, at least that's what they told me. They used to say, "Oh, it's the chemical that they put in the beer that keeps the shelf life of it longer," or something like that. And people were saying it was formaldehyde or something. I never researched any of that stuff. I guess I could now, but that's what they thought was giving me the headaches or the hangover was the whatever they were putting in the alcohol to preserve it. But I didn't always drink beer either. Like honestly, I probably preferred vodka more than beer when I did drink. But again, I guess the after effect. And then once I got into this health kick with food and what I ate and exercise, I just completely removed it. And it wasn't very hard for me to do either. Um, so it wasn't like I struggled or it was like an addiction or anything. Yeah, it was easy for me. But I get that what you're saying, Brian. It's like it's hard to be in the Philippines and not want to live near, be in the water or see waterfalls and stuff like that, I guess for me, like, and that's why when I was in Bacolod, I really didn't like it. It didn't fit with me because I just felt like I was in a city, in a hot climate city and didn't really see much nature. Rick Hawks says Mr. Lowe's or Lose. I'm not sure, but welcome, Rick Hawk. I don't know where you're from. I don't know what Mr. Luez is, but my apologies, but welcome. My name's Michael. Here in the Philippines, under a tarp, waiting for this little rain, whatever you want to call it, to pass through. Festival setting up, but kind of doesn't start until around 6, so I guess the rain's not an issue now. But thought this would have blown by now, but it's still hanging. But welcome. Jay Boy says true that, and Brian Rick Hawks, Lewis. Jinx says Batayan Island has excellent beaches too, and more laid back than Boracay if you want some peace and quiet. I appreciate the welcome back, Jinx, and I appreciate the input. Again, I have a lot to learn. I'm here, but I certainly don't know everything. I don't even know if I would honestly say I know maybe about 10% of the Philippines if I'm lucky when it comes to a lot of stuff. I'm learning different things every day. That's what makes it fun too. I mean, I'm glad I know where immigration is, know where to extend my visa and all that stuff, and know the process of all that. That's important, taking care of that. At least get there a week before the expiration date, get it taken care of. Unless you want to pay extra for the expedited getting it done. I usually just go for the basic, pay the cheaper, and come back and get it. And it's always smart to either make a copy of your passport before you hand it over to them, because someone a lot wiser than me in the Philippines said, Michael, take a picture of your passport or make a copy of it, because just say, heaven forbid, that the immigration building would catch on fire and your passport would burn up and then you wouldn't have it. Better to have a copy of it, or better yet, take a picture of it. So I do know that. And that's from a much wiser, more experienced person here in the Philippines. Uh, but appreciate it, Jinx. J Boy says, plead the fifth. It certainly became uncomfortable really quick. Yeah. Yeah. I left my comment and then I actually left. I just didn't feel very well seeing that. I just didn't. And it was getting later. And then I think I bounced over to James and Karen's adventure and kind of more of a relaxed setting. They were making pizza and stuff. And then slowly after that, I got ready for bed and went to sleep. And I was up at 4:30 this morning. I normally don't get up at 4:30. Normally like 6, but yeah, I was up at 4:30. But I was asleep probably by 9:30. I like getting up early. That's why I go to sleep early. I like being out and about in the daytime. Um, I'm not missing much at nighttime. Brian says with CP, the cost adds up. Cebu, which is Cebu Pacific. The CP, the cost adds up very quick from Australia. Once you add in luggage and food, it's on par with the other airlines. Yeah, that would be expensive. We always go 30-kilogram luggage as we're always taking stuff for the family. Yeah, that's what happened to me. I was bringing more stuff even when I came back here. I had to leave, and it is what it is. But unfortunately, I had to leave behind my very nice quality, bought this years ago when I lived in Florida, but snorkel, very good quality mask, and flippers that I used a lot when I was snorkeling in Florida. So when push came to shove, and I only brought two backpacks, a big one and a smaller one, both as carry-ons, I ran out of room. I actually had to leave some clothes behind of mine, and yeah, I brought a ton of chocolate and shoes, sneakers, a couple pairs for me, pair of Brooks sneakers for Che. Yeah, I just ran out of room. So I was kind of upset that I left one thing I didn't want to leave behind, but maybe I can work something out with my parents somehow. I know there's ways you can ship stuff, those big containers and stuff like that that take 2 months. But the only problem with that is that container business is not in Pennsylvania, it's in DC, so it'll be quite a drive for somebody, a friend or family member, to just load up a car and take a bunch of my stuff. So anyway, I don't have my good snorkel and mask and flippers here. Uh, J Boy says, yeah, if you're traveling with family, you definitely don't need that luggage. Brian says, Jinx, Station 3 and Angle are very quiet areas on Boracay. Andy Che says, stay dry. Thank you, Che. You too. I don't know where you're at. I'm just still under this, which is good enough. It works. Um, J Boy says, are you live streaming using your mobile data? The quality is pretty good. I'm impressed. Yes, I am. And I appreciate the feedback. Um, I'm doing basically it's unlimited daily. If you pay per day, it's 30 pesos per day. And I got to give credit to Karen, actually told me, but James and Karen, they gave me advice on getting data that is unlimited, lasts all day. It's smart. eSIM data, 30 pesos for unlimited for the day. Now, if you get 3 days, it's like 85 pesos total. So you're saving 5 pesos. I have a 7-day thing, which was, if I remember correctly, 185 pesos. I give her money, she puts on her Gcash, and then she just pays for it. But yeah, I'm on a 7-day thing. I hope to find like a monthly thing. But yeah, I've gotten good results on this data live streaming. So for now, this is what I'll use until Starlink Mini becomes an option for me. That's what I like to move on to. So I would feel a little more confident out and about walking at a normal pace, taking whoever's in the live stream, if wherever I go to see things instead of just me under a tent. Or always here at the boulevard. But yeah, like it's funny because like everybody kind of found a tent wherever they could stand under because it's still, yeah. Actually, this is the longest it's rained straight in several days. But yeah, the data is great, and I appreciate you letting me know. Yashas is here. Hey, how you doing, my friend? What's up? Welcome. Thanks for being here. Jay Boy says he's laughing at Che. Brian says our luggage was temporarily stolen by the security guard at MLN. I guess that's Manila, and we worked out it was targeted because it was ours, but our valuables are always on carry-on. Wow, that's very good. And that's probably another reason to hearing that story is probably another good reason to, if you can limit everything to carry on in your travels, just do that. And that way it's always with you. Like I said, I will never ever check in any luggage. I'm just not going to do it. Um, even whatever. Any traveling I'm doing around here, I'll take minimal what I need, and if I get it clothes washed at a laundry or the place you stay at, wash it. If I need an extra of this or an extra that, it's cheap enough just to buy it. At least in my limited experience, I don't want to. Nope, no more checking in anything. Che's laughing at J Boy. Brian says Emirates is airline based in UAE, I think. Emma Watt says National Airline. Hey, Emma Watt, welcome, my friend. How things going with you? Just hanging out under a tarp while this passes through, which it's not bad. I guess still got a decent amount of people here on the live stream. You guys aren't bored, not sick of looking at my face. So thank you, Emma Watt. How's things going with you? Rashad says, have you seen my new voiceover? I don't use script. It was like a freestyle voiceover. I have to check it out, Yashas. I haven't. I thought you were just going to stick with your own voice and not do voiceovers. But if you like that and that's what you're into, you got to do what you like. But I'll check it out for you, Yashas. My bad. I'll get caught up. Sometimes I get a little overwhelmed with watching a lot of live streams, some videos, and then obviously I got to start doing videos myself. I've been very, very, very bad at that, but that'll change. Um, Brian says, I just subbed Yasha, so we'll check them out later. Thank you for doing that, Brian. Yasha, his stuff's cool. It's different, completely different. I don't know why he wants to change his voice. I think his regular voice is perfectly fine. More, to me, more genuine and authentic, but do what you like. That's what matters. Jay Boy says, sounds like you made a decision to live a healthy and positive lifestyle pretty early on in life. Kudos to you. Um, Basically, yeah. And then I do have to say though that I was inspired by other people as well. I give a lot of credit to my younger brother. My younger brother has been a big inspiration, very knowledgeable, um, health, diet, food, natural, holistic ways. I'm more in a holistic, natural healing myself than any other way. Um, I avoid anything that's not natural at all costs. I guess that's the best way I can put it. And then, my mother and father have been dealing with a lot. Obviously, they're older, but they, they're both 85 and they grew up in a time period where they were influenced by everything, I guess, on TV that kind of directed them in a way to probably eat some food that they shouldn't be eating. They went through a little bit of a slide in their health, dementia wise, diabetic wise, lack of exercise. And my brother has really completely turned them around. They're in much better condition now. He's sacrificing taking care of them at their house versus if they were in a daycare, I don't real a nursing home. I mean, I don't even know if they'd be alive right now, to be honest with you. Um, he's done, he's made the sacrifices of all sacrifices and Um, they eat better than they've ever done. He's a very good cook. He takes care of them, and I've seen a huge turnaround with my mother and father, especially my mother, where she was at a point where she had a stroke, which obviously affects people's speech and everything else. And I wasn't sure if I'd ever have a conversation with my mother ever again, and at least like a normal one. And I wouldn't say she's completely normal where she was once was, but now before she would just listen, and I think she had stuff on her mind, but it wouldn't come out. And now she actually speaks and like is more involved in the conversation. It's kind of wild. I guess I look at it as a miracle, but thanks to my brother, because yeah, sorry about venting, talking about my parents like that, but yeah, that's probably motivating too. Um, Brian says is now a non-drinker. Are you saying you're a non-drinker, Brian? I see the arrow pointing to yourself, but um, either way, I respect you guys anyway. It's it's your life, it's your choice. You're still good. You're still good people. J Boy says, "Che dropping in. Maybe your Filipina's hungry. You know what, J Boy? She has all access to any and all food that she wants. She was doing the grocery shopping and she was taking the food back to the apartment, so she has plenty of options to eat, snacks and all sorts of stuff. So she should be in good hands. But yeah, yeah, she was a little grumpy yesterday, but she didn't eat much for breakfast. I kind of understand why, and that was her own fault. I don't know why she didn't even eat much, but she ate some French fries, and we saw she changed. Uh, Brian subscribed to just, or Yasha subscribed to Brian. That's nice. Jay Boy says, "Good for you, sir." I guess that was about non-drinker. Amawad says, "Living near water has its risk or pros or cons. Always evaluate them." Yeah, you're right. I did this ocean just in general. If I just see the ocean, I'm motivated. I love the ocean. Brian says, "Thanks, Josh. Not much there. Just some videos from trips to Boracay, but more coming." That's good to hear. I got to do that myself. Like I said, I've been not very good lately, but I want to give you guys content, not just, um, at least I look at it from a viewer's perspective. Like, I mean, you might think this is boring too, but I want something that's a little, as a viewer, I prefer something that's a little more interesting than the same old regurgitated stuff of out and about. That's why I can't wait to go to Sea Horror, and hopefully that works out. That's more of what I wanted my channel to be, more nature exploring related when the budget permits. I can't go anywhere and everywhere. I'm not rich. Um, Jay says, haha, Jay boy, I'm okay. I already eat. Yeah, see, she's good. Joshua says it's okay. Hey, Margie Chiwu, I saw you downtown 2 days ago. You were walking alone. Yes, you see me walking everywhere. I remember who you are. I'm almost positive. I think you were the one that I met when I was walking on the boulevard and everybody was swimming in the water, jumping in, if I remember correctly. Maybe not, but I think I'm right. I think that's you, but I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Yasha says, everyone make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for saying that. Brian says, not a bad idea to take a picture of your passport and upload to Drive. Yeah, that was one of the best pieces of advice I was ever given. Um, where am I? Oh, Yasha says, yes. Saint Pinor, he retracted his message, but hi, Saint Pinor. She says, Margie says, where are you now? I'm at the boulevard where the festival tents are. I'm just hanging out, trying to keep myself dry. But yeah, thank you for being here. That's where I'm at. Hold on, Jay boy. I gotta hook you up because you're a good guy. Um, do you jog in the morning or just walk? Do you do grounding in the morning? You know what? I was doing more grounding, and you're actually right. I got to do that more often. Take your shoes off, stand in the grass, stand in the sand at a beach area if that's convenient for you. I don't jog. I do fast walking. The reason I don't jog, I have in the past, and I did a couple times here. Wow, maybe before I went back to the U.S. The reason I don't jog as much is because through studying and learning about it, plus I know my physical, how I feel, you're just pounding on your joints more when you're jogging. Whereas, especially because you're on hard pavement in most cases. Now, if you can be jogging on grass, softer ground, or sand at the beach, that would probably be all right. I do a lot of fast walking everywhere. And then every so often I mix in a sprint. You just go run, pick a, I don't know, say this pole to that pole kind of thing. And just, well, let's just say you're going, say that pole, and then you just sprint maybe down to that one or the next one. After you've been walking, to sprint as hard as you can. It's high intensity. From what I've learned, and I do it, you get more out of a high intensity sprint like than you did get out of like jogging. It's like it has to be a certain distance for the sprint as hard as you can versus a certain distance jogging. And they say you get more out of that than you do out of jogging. So I will do that. But yeah, I don't really do any jogging anymore. Um, just because I want to protect my joints. Not that you can't get hurt sprinting. You can get hurt sprinting too. I mean, you just got to be a little smarter when you get older because obviously everything heals slower. And if you have to heal slower, that could set you back and you might not be able to do certain things. And I've already sustained a couple injuries that I've had to overcome. And I'll be honest, it pisses you off because like I've put so much time and effort to get me to a certain point, but all it takes is something little and it just takes forever to heal. So I'm very cautious about what I do. But yeah, like jogging I just don't do it. Um, Brian says, LOL, yeah, I keep on having to rebuy full face snorkel masks when I get back. And again, I guess if I could buy another nice set here, I would do it. But I don't remember what I spent. I bought it in Florida, but it was like when I had a materialistic problem, I paid for the highest quality flippers, the highest quality masks with like the tempered glass in it, and everything was like really good. And it was like, I don't want to go somewhere where they let you use somebody rental. I don't want to put something else in my mouth. So yeah, I'm kind of yeah. I just pissed off that I couldn't bring my snorkel and stuff. Yeah. Jay Boy says, "Do your parents or family have plans to visit in the future? What do they think of your vlog or live stream?" My father probably would be healthy enough to travel that this far to come here. My mother, I don't think. She has more issues than my father, although she's a lot better now than, like I said, than what she was. I don't think she could make the travel. Um, if my father, I don't want to think about my mother not being alive, but if it was just my father and he was by himself, he'd probably live here. He joked around about it, like, uh, if he was on his own and alone, and um, like I said, I don't think about losing my mother, but he would probably be here. He has a nice retirement. He could set himself up nice. He could have you know, there's plenty of people here that'll take care of you, Filipinas that'll, almost like an in-home nurse. I've met several foreigners here that have like special care, and it's not like my father's not, he can't take care of himself, but just somebody to buy the groceries, cook your food, make sure like he doesn't take medicine, he takes supplements like organic vitamins and stuff, just to make sure he's taking what he needs to take and stuff like that. Yeah, he would live here. I think it'll be awesome for him. I think he'd be happy. He can meet other older foreigners, go get a coffee, and that's where I get my talking from my father, as you can see. Uh, it's like that song, you talk too much and you never shut up, and it's still raining. But like you see here, it's like right there. It's like the only break, but it's still raining. This is like I said, this is the longest continuous rain we've had, and I appreciate you guys still here. Um, but yeah, that would be the only case. My father would do it if not for my mother. She couldn't travel that far. So who knows what the future holds? It's possible. Louis says, "Hey, Mike. Hey, Louis. How you doing today, my friend?" I don't think a picture of your passport is acceptable, but I have seen advertisement of a digital passport. Yeah, I don't know the whole thing with that. I think it was more just as a protection last resort. Obviously, there are quite a few fires here in Dumaguete. Shay and I have seen a lot here. Like it is, whether it's electrical, you just see quite a few random fires always taking place here, and uh, some other foreigners here who have lived here a lot longer than me said it's probably a good idea if you don't get the expedited passport or extension where they just do it right when you're there. Or actually, they do that in Bacolod. Here in Dumaguete, even if you get the expedited, you still have to leave and come back later that day. The one in Bacolod, you go there, they have it done within minutes. So that's one thing I would say I like about Bacolod. Their immigration is much more like advanced. I don't think there's as many foreigners in Bacolod either. Dumaguete has a lot more, but their office is bigger. Just, the one here in Bacolod is very small. It's like you're going, or Dumaguete, it's like you're walking down like a little alley. Um, yeah, it's just a much bigger process. And typically when you go in there, there's like at least 10 or more other foreigners in there waiting to get their passport extension. Brian says, I looked into a Starlink when I was thinking about moving to Boracay last year. It was comparable to here. Yeah, I think James or Karen or somebody said it might be better for me if I want a Starlink to purchase it in the United States and then bring it here. And then there's something involved when you bring it to another country or something. At least that's what I understood. Yeah, it's raining a lot. Gee Louise. Anyway, you guys don't care. I'm the one in this. Well, I'm dry, but if I remember correctly, when I asked James and Karen, or maybe I was on Michael White's Thriving Expats channel, they're kind of talking about the whole Starlink thing. I don't know enough about it, but if I remember correctly, someone mentioned that maybe it's better to buy the Starlink in the US, or if I know someone's coming here, have them buy it and then pay for it when it gets here. But yeah, that's definitely in my plans. I think that would be beneficial for me. Uh, J Boy asked Brian if he's still moving to the Philippines. Said, no, I asked, but the request went to the company board and they got nervous and said, no. I probably, once I'm retired, how much longer do you have to go, Brian, until you're retired, until you can come here? Yashna says, I'm cooking some chicken. That sounds good. Chicken's in my diet quite a bit every day. Um, Brian says, but hopefully that's 7 or 8 years in the future. All right. So you just kind of answered my question. Thank you. Chase says she's at the apartment now. I take it you didn't get rained on, or maybe you beat the rain. J Boy says, hopefully retirement soon for you, Brian. Yeah, exactly. We are tossing up if we build on my wife's land on Boracay or mainland or buy in Calibo or Ilo. Got a lot of options. Yeah, that would be hard. Like there's so many places I want to see before I can even think about building a home. Like it has to be, and I know it's probably next to impossible to find that perfect location to build a home. I just need to be near the water. That's first and foremost. I know you got to be, I guess, you got to take everything into account, I guess, when narrowing it down. But my number one thing is I want to be close to the ocean somehow, some way. Be significantly close to the ocean, walking distance. Yasta said chicken barbecue, yum. Brian says, J boy, I want to work as long as I can. I used to feel that way, Brian, but then when I started seeing all my friends work well beyond retirement age in the US and they were all passing away and dying of all these freaky things, or one guy got knee replacement surgery. And obviously, when you get major surgery of any kind, blood clots are always a potential threat. And then here he got a blood clot and then died. Like he wasn't even, heck, I don't even know if he's retired for a couple months. That was one. A couple other people, I think, died within a year or year and a half after they were retired. So that was definitely motivating for me to retire early. and fortunately I had a pension, and that's what I'm living on, my pension and savings. Um, I just want to live life. I didn't want the grind anymore. But YouTube is a job, right? It can be, I guess. And it keeps me busy. I know some people that, retire early and then they have an itch to do something or they miss working in some fashion. YouTube keeps me busy and should actually keep me busier aside from live stream. So I'll just do that and see where it goes. I'm not really worried about it from a monetized standpoint, or that's what's meant to be will be. That's God willing. I'm not doing YouTube thinking, oh, I need that to help me survive here. That's just an added bonus if that even happens. But honestly, I just enjoy sharing my dream and see if I motivate other people and see what happens. Um, uh, hey, Dirk Kenji, I remember you too. I know you too, Dirk Kenji Matosa. I remember you being here the other day. I'm not sure if you told me where you're from, and I apologize, but I remember Dirk. You had such a long name. That's definitely unique. I know you too. How are you doing? Thanks for being here. Sorry it took me so long to respond. I'm trying to catch up on these comments. I get talking too much and it puts me behind. Brian says, yes, stopped drinking a couple years ago. Good for you. Hope you, I mean, I'm sure you notice the difference that it makes in your life. I know what it makes in mine. It's been years and years and years and years. Jay Boy says, that's awesome about your parents getting better. That's a nice reinforcement to keep eating and living healthy. Yeah, it's just one of the extra incentives for me to, it's a motivation to keep going. Use it or lose it, and you are what you eat kind of mentality. What did someone else say to me? It's 90% diet, 10% exercise. I'd say they're pretty spot on. Jay Boy, why do you want to work as long as possible? Brian, well, my wife is 11 years younger, so it'll be that long after I retire until she does. That makes sense. And you do like your job. That's important. That's good. You don't hear a lot of people say that either. Jay Boy says, Brian, good for you. Rare for people to love their jobs these days, no doubt. Usually people just work because they have to work to survive or to live a particular lifestyle. Brian says, yes, Jay Boy, and I have now been doing this and similar for 25 years or 24. He says, sorry, 24 years. Nice. Yeah, I was with my company for 24 to 25 years total around there. Um, Brian says, yeah, and I now work from home, so out of bed, put shorts and a work shirt on, start the laptop and away I go. So that's a nice benefit. That would definitely help me love my job more if I were had the opportunity to work from home. Oops, did do that, says anxiety. Why? I don't know. I don't like anxiety. That's why I exercise a lot. That actually eliminates anxiety for me anyway. But welcome. Oops, did do that. Where are you from? J Boy says you should get a fireproof safe. I have fireproof safe at my house and feels everything important goes in there to protect them from fire and theft. Yeah, that's probably a nice potential investment. Uh, Definitely makes sense. Ronit 1019 says, what's up? Ronit, welcome. Where are you from? Ronit or Ron it? Not I apologize for pronouncing it wrong. Love the color of your eyes. Appreciate it. Yeah, they're blue. I got blue eyes. Appreciate the compliment. Thank you very much. Where are you from? Brian says, I should. J Boy says, Che, keep you busy. Yep. Brian said, should add that I want to watch my grandkids grow up as well. Yeah, that's another incentive. There you go. And for me, since Che is younger than me or anybody that I'd be with, not, just anybody in my own health, I know that people would joke and say, Michael, what do you want to live forever? I'm like, no, because I know I can't live forever. But what I can do, I'm in control to a certain extent of my health. And if I can do things to make my health better, allowing me to be more active and fit, um, which starts with diet, which starts with rest, which starts with exercise, which I know I feel better now than I mean, I never imagined being 55 years old and feeling the way I do, looking the way I do. I never in a million years. Sometimes I look in the mirror or someone says, "Oh my gosh, you're that age? You don't look that age." And then sometimes it's like almost like, yeah, maybe they're right. It's kind of like I like the compliment, but at the end of the day, I know I'm not going to live forever, but I want to live the healthiest life I can until the end for me. And I don't want to suffer for a lot of years or be limited to certain things, like my mother, she can't really walk. She does a little bit, she has a walker, but yeah, she's 85 also. I get that. But truth be told, my mother's brother, my uncle, Don, he is older than my mom, which I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years older. And the guy can plays beach volleyball, plays softball, runs the bases, does all sorts of stuff, and he's pushing 90. But he's been active all his life. Now I don't know if whether he drinks or not. I I don't know. But all I know is he's three, at least 3, 4 years older than my mother, and he's physically active uh, playing beach volleyball when we'd meet him at Myrtle Beach in South Carolina in the United States. He'd be playing beach volleyball with all of us. Yeah. So it's possible. But again, I can be great today and something could happen tomorrow. That's possible too. But at least I know I'm giving the best effort I can to, you know, enjoy my life from this day forward to allow me to go to Sikihor and go to waterfalls and swing on a road. I want to do stuff. I don't want to be limited. I don't want to be sitting there watching everybody. I don't want to be sitting there watching everybody do everything and I can't. That would just eat me up. It would eat me alive. So um and Cert says hi. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, Ronit. Um J Boy says, "You live stream has the same pace as Gino's live stream. It's a nice pace and very chill." I appreciate it, J Boy. I try my best. I'm just being me. And I don't know, like I said, it's very therapeutic. Like I like to talk, and obviously I'm at here 102 minutes or whatever, and I'm just thankful for who's here and who's been here. And, it is what it is. I am who I am. And it's either a good live stream or it's not a good one. We'll see. And I think every live stream is good regardless of who shows up. Now, if there's nobody on it, obviously, I wouldn't be here talking to myself. But I take that as a compliment because I feel the same way about Gino's lives. Uh, Brian says, I agree, Jay Boy, it's a nice pace. Thank you. I try. Ronita says, I'm from India. Where are you from? Ronit, I am from the United States, but I'm living abroad here in the Philippines. And maybe the rain is finally taking yeah, it's not too bad. I can kind of come out from under. Look at that. I can come out from the tarp. You guys don't need to look at my face anymore. But yeah, I'm from the United States, but I'm living abroad in Dumaguete, Philippines. And there's a big festival coming later, but it's clearing up a little bit, but it looks like there's another one following up behind it. But welcome. Um, Ronit says, yo. J Boy says, bro, you don't look 55. You're definitely doing things right. I try. I just think, I attribute it to the things that I don't put in my body, and I attribute it to the things that I do put in my body, as well as exercise. So maybe I'm doing something right. Um, Dad says, you don't look 55. Thank you very much. Brian says, yep, doing better than I was at 55. Appreciate it. Brian says, but in my case at 55, I was still recovering from 5 years of chemo, still am to some degree. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Brian. Um, right now, when I read that, I instantly just want to I just say a little prayer for you. That's exactly what I did. I just instantly I feel that, and I'm just like I'll share a little something. I'm a very compassionate person when it comes to my emotions. I don't hide them very well. I'm very open. I guess there are some things maybe I'm personal about, but when it comes to, especially here, getting to know you guys and being friends and stuff like that, you never know what somebody's going through in their life. So, um, my heart and my prayers go out to you right now, Brian. I appreciate everything, the support of my channel, the support of me, being a friend, and who knows what the future holds. Hopefully, someday, all these friendships we build, we actually get to meet people. We get to all meet each other, one way or another. I know there's a lot of islands in the Philippines, but at the same time, when you really think about it, it's not that big. And it's not far in distance for me to get to like where James and Karen live, or to Guy Ty to where Ray lives, or to where Gino lives. It's not far. It's just time consuming getting there because you know how everything's slower. Um, but anyway, Brian, uh, I'll keep that in my thoughts and prayers to you all the time. Whoops, what did I do? How did I just zoom that? Ah, that was funny. I never did that before. Uh, Ronit, Ronit says, looks like a good place for a hot cup of tea. Tea's very good for you. I love tea. A lot of health benefits. You don't even want to. One of these days, I want to have like a live stream where I talk about all the things that I incorporate in my diet, things that I have but don't consistently get to do it. Maybe there's certain things I can't get here in the Philippines, but for the most part, you can. Just talk about things that I do for my health and what allows me to be me at 55. Maybe that would be interesting for people. I don't know. Sometimes people ask me that, but I'm not so sure people would be interested in that. But yeah, cup of tea. There's never a bad time for tea. Green tea, black tea, um, I got ginger tea. There's so many different types of medicinal properties in tea. It's insane. Um, yeah, tea is good stuff. Brian says, nah, I am still above ground, so all good. Hey, I'm glad you're still above ground because that allows you to be here with all of us, and you're valuable to not only as a friend, but you're valuable to my live stream. You keep it rolling. Um, Jay Boy says, Brian, keep fighting and stay positive always. You have that retirement waiting in the Philippines. Yes, we're waiting for you, Brian. Um, Brian says, yeah, it does, run it. And Brian says, thanks, Jay Boy. Brian says, I'm a very lucky man. Well, I used to say luck for a lot of things in my life, but ever since I got to the Philippines, I changed just one little thing. Instead of saying I'm a lucky man, I say I'm a blessed man. Um, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed to have the health I have. I'm blessed to have met Che. I'm blessed to have met so many wonderful people here. I'm blessed to have met so many wonderful people on YouTube. Um, I'm blessed to wake up every day and see this. I mean, even though it just rained, I mean, look how beautiful that is. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, look at that. Just after a little bit of rain. I mean, look at that. It still looks beautiful. And now everybody can kind of take their tarps off and they're getting prepared for it's just awesome. I mean, this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Um, Michael, maybe do a day in your life. I'm interested to see what you do and eat to look this young at age 55. Well, J Boy, that's where I like the idea of having the Starlink Mini when my budget allows it. Because there's other stuff I want to do, and I don't necessarily need to get that Starlink now. I'll probably be put in situations, traveling to other places where I won't be able to get a signal, and I won't be able to do one of my compassionate, energetic, emotional episodes, live streams here in the moment when I see something that's so beautiful, like that waterfall video I did, um, that's where Starlink will be important. But Starlink, as I'm walking around and just take, I mean, whatever, who shows up for how long, whatever, it would be so cool to just give a day in the life of me, what I do on a normal, non-planned, not going anywhere life in Dumaguete, let's just say. Follow me everywhere I go. But I certainly know I would talk, and I certainly would when I listen to music and stuff, I forget how far I've even walked anyway. But it would be a lot of fun to be able to do a live stream and not worry about losing the signal. Now, I'm not saying Starlink is foolproof, but I'm sure it probably is better than what I'm using now. Although this works good, I just know that I did a little walk in here sometimes. And if I walk too fast, because I'm moving too fast, that's when the lag starts. So, but I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. 1232 Hey says, I'm gay. I mean, I'm the happy version of that word. I'm straight as an arrow, have a Filipino girlfriend, but to each his own. Um, I'm very happy. But welcome, 123. 123 says twice. Welcome. Brian says, I had an out of hospital arrest at my 47th birthday party. I call it my party trick. What? I had an out of hospital arrest. This I don't know a lot of. Bill says, 124. Yeah, 123, relax. Yeah, we got you, buddy. We know you're happy. J Boy says, LOL, Bill. All right, I'm going back to Brian here. Caused by a tumor. My wife did CPR until three ambulances arrived from just across the road because my house is next door to the showgrounds, and we always had my party to coincide with the local show. So my wife literally saved my life. The only thing I remember from it was her ordering me quite forcefully, "You're not leaving me." Wow. Uh, for just those comments and me reading it, that's pretty specific and detailed situation. I'd say you were blessed and God bless your wife. Wow, that's something there, Brian. 47th birthday. Now I understand you weren't forget. Wow. Oh, okay. VF for a cardiac arrest. Because I was thinking, what? 47th birthday? Or I'm like, the way you read it, and out of hospital arrest. So I'm thinking, what? You got out of hospital and they arrested you? Now I'm following you. That's why these comments can be a little funny. And it's good that you corrected yourself. Um, yeah, God bless your wife. You're darn right, Jay boy. Uh, again, blessings. That's what I've gotten here in the Philippines, guys. Blessings upon blessings. Brian says, nope, not forgetting that one. That's good to hear. Very good to hear. Where are we at in this live? I try not to go too nuts. I try to stick with the rule of thumb. An hour and a half, no more than 2 hours. So let me see, 6120. So another 7 minutes would put me at 2 hours, which would probably be good unless people continue to talk and give me something to talk about. Uh, Brian says, thank God for her and the Australian health system. Well, there you go. Um, and see, that's just, yeah, now I understand, like, you've obviously had things happen in your life that may put, your health maybe, I don't know at what point you stopped drinking and when you had your cardiac arrest. I'm trying to, I think you said, what, 3 years now you haven't been drinking? Maybe I lost track, but my apologies. When I'm reading all this, I get brain overload. Um, Brian says, have an implanted defibrillator now for 13 years. Wow. A defibrillator, if I think I have this right. My younger sister's husband had to get a defibrillator, and I know he's younger than me. Um, we had a situation where he was flying to California from DC, arrived at the hotel, basically collapsed on the floor at the basically checking into the hotel, and here he some heart related thing, and then it required him to get a defibrillator. Um, so yeah, that definitely happens. Um, J Boy says, yeah, everyone seems to stream around 1.5 to 2 hours. I try to keep it like that. Now I've had some long ones. I think whatever topic or subject we were on, it took it long. Plus, if there's a lot more people in it, seems like a lot of times when you go to end the stream, then all these people start. Well, you think there's people. I mean, right now I see seven, so that seems to be pretty accurate. Not always, but seems to be. J Boy says, Brian, that sounds crazy. Do you feel the defib, and does it, I guess, impede with your everyday life? And Brian says, I was the one who drank all the way through chemo up until I decided I wanted to lose some weight a couple years ago. All right. Because I know, Gino, obviously, I don't know the whole story, but, he dealt with cancer. I know he doesn't drink. He's dedicated to health. And I think, I don't know if, sometimes, like I said, sometimes things have to happen in your life to force your hand kind of and decisions you make when it comes to what you put in your body. And I guess that could be another motivating factor for me as well. I've seen too many things happen to other people. And then you learn, well, it was because of this or because of that. And then when you really narrow it down, it's because of certain things that they're putting in their body. And then I think I'm not, I don't think, I know that was part of the reason why I was just like, I'm not putting this stuff in me. Like, I'm just like, I don't want that to happen to me. So I think that was kind of what pushed me as well to remove alcohol, natural sugars. I mean, I know processed sugar is hard to almost eliminate, but if you cook from home and you make your own food, you're more in control of that. And that's why I prefer to eat at home versus going out because some places are putting, you don't know what it is. If you want sugar, you can get coconut sugar as a sweetener, honey as a sweetener, stevia as a sweetener, monk fruit as a sweetener. Um, yeah, you don't need to use your normal processed sugar, but that's a discussion for another time. Uh, Brian says, No, J Boy, it's never gone off. I had to have a new battery inserted last year. That says some of the regulars are absent. Yeah, some of the regulars are absent, but that's all right. You guys are here. I'm blessed and thankful that you guys are here. Uh, J Boy says Gino drinks one beer max on a very rare occasion. Yeah, me is absolutely zilch. I tell people the last wedding I was at, or any wedding that I've been to, they toast the champagne. I put it to my mouth, or they give me some alternate apple juice or something that I just water. Yeah, I don't, I don't miss it. I don't need it. I guess me cheat would be someone saying, "Oh, you want a Coke Zero?" I don't drink soda either, but that would be like a cheat day for me on a rare occasion. Um, Josh Wilson says, at dead, I just lurk. Thank you for lurking, Josh. Um, Brian says, I agree with the lifestyle thing. I was still in the mindset of an older generation. Yeah, Dead's laughing at Josh. Brian says, yeah, I have monk fruit now. There you go. Yeah, she had never had coconut sugar, I don't think, until I introduced her to it. Um, They actually sold a very popular clean brand that I would get in the US. You could get it here at a health store in Bacolod. I don't know if I can get that here in Dumaguete, but she likes coconut sugar. It's natural. Bill says, I will get better than and more than seven. Just stay consistent, coming on live stream every day or every other day and change content to see what really works. Yeah, I got you. I just enjoy doing it. Like I said, I get the urge to just talk, you can pick a topic you want to discuss, and then usually it ends up going into an open Q&A anyway, which is fine by me. I can talk about anything and everything, but I got what you're saying, Bill. You're right. Um, J Boy says, "What's monk fruit?" I'm gonna have to Google that one. Google that one, J Boy. You'll find out. Insert name. And it's funny too. All the stuff that's healthy for you and good for you, it's more expensive. All the stuff that's not good for you, cheap. Well, what can most people? Well, not most, but certain people, what can they afford? Only the cheap stuff. So they get the cheap stuff that's not good for you because they can't afford the stuff that is good for you because they just look at price and not really what it is. Uh, Brian says, I worked cattle on cattle station ranches for the Americans for years, and you tend to be a binge drinker. Okay. You see, I wasn't. I was a social drinker. When I drank, it was social, like I said earlier, purely because friends wanting to fit in, want to be accepted. I knew it. I'm already a fun, goofy person. I can have fun as it is, funny, humorous. I can sing karaoke. I can dance. And I don't need alcohol for me to do anything. Like I'm not. I don't need it for courage. I guess if people use alcohol to boost their confidence or courage, I don't need any of that stuff. Um, I guess I only needed it because, yeah, I just wanted to fit in with my friends simply. Um, Brian says I prefer monk fruit to sugar. Well, it's better for you anyway. Sugar, and my opinion and my research and what I've learned, poison. Processed sugar is nothing but poison. Causes all sorts of problems. Josh says, think I've got stevia for when I drink hot tea with milk. There you go. Yeah, it's natural. Monk fruit's definitely natural. Stevia is too. Is monk fruit healthier than stevia? That's a good question. There's different types of stevia that I've seen. Monk fruit I've gotten in liquid form, not in powdered form, or stevia you can get in powdered form, but then you get into the whole organic. I actually have stevia packets that I brought from the US here. Um, some people don't like it just because it doesn't hit you like processed sugar. That's for darn sure. I don't drink milk. I don't drink. I don't eat milk chocolate. It's cacao, dark chocolate, but cacao. I usually go 70% cacao, but you can go as high as 100. 100 bitter as all can be. But if you mix that with honey or something that you incorporate it, then it kind of the honey sweetens the cacao chocolate taste. But I've actually found cacao bars here in Bacolod. They don't have them now because I look for them all the time when I go into the store called Belkris. It's like an import store, but they have 70% cacao bars, and the sweetener was stevia, I think, or monk fruit. Definitely wasn't sugar, processed sugar. I usually go 70 to 80% cacao strength, however you want to put that. But yeah, cacao has a lot of health nutritional benefits to it as well. I don't know which one, if there's actually better between monk fruit and stevia. Uh, Brian says, yeah, 13 Aussie for 509 grams. Yeah, everything that's good for you is more expensive. That's how they deter you from buying the stuff that's healthy. They jack up the price. Playing games. Bill says, yep, being a diabetic is a fun thing to go through. No alcohol because too much sugar. Yep. And bread's the same way. The only bread I eat, my friend, and I will preach about it, sourdough bread, the best. Sourdough. There's natural enzymes in it. It's good for digestion. That's the only bread I'll eat. Sourdough. Now, have I had other bread? Yeah, sometimes you just can't avoid it. But they put sugar in all this bread. Sometimes, obviously, you can't notice it, but there's a lot of bread here in the Philippines they made that it specifically has a lot of sugar in it. I mean, yeah, you just spike yeah. I'm not going to get into the whole diabetic preach, but you're right, Bill. Um, Brian says, yes, I think so, Jay Boy. No aftertaste. Yeah, because certain ones, yeah, one has an aftertaste a little bit and one doesn't. Um, Debt, he knows only Buka juice or Buko juice for Michael. Yeah, that's the only BJ for Michael. I knew you were gonna liven this live stream up at some point. Debt, you make me laugh. J Boy says, LOL, debt loans, that Buka juice for the win. Yeah, it's always for the win. White creamy milk coconut drink. Monk fruit is sold in supermarkets here now. I don't remember. Anytime I got monk fruit or stevia, I was buying it on Amazon in the US. I haven't tried to buy it here just because I found honey. I found, well, raw honey. Still not the best honey that I got in the US, but it's better than what I thought. And I found coconut sugar here. But I haven't checked. Like I said, there's certain things I get this granola uh, in the US through Amazon, or I got it at Costco, but you could buy it on Amazon here. In the Philippines, it doesn't ship here. Dad's laughing at Jay Boy. Brian says, yeah, I love Buko juice, but harder to get here aside from the processed coconut water. Yeah. That's why mainly that was like a cheat drink. Just give me coconut water, squeeze some calamansi in it, and add a little honey to that. That's my power drink. That's all I need. Or even add a little ginger to it, and that's all I need. Tastes great. Love it. Uh, J Boy says recent studies show that dark chocolate contributes to longevity. I always have 90% dark chocolate. Also, you're saying dark chocolate or dark cacao? Because if you're going 90% cacao, which reminds me, I got to put on my power bank because I'm down to 29% on my phone. So give me a minute here. There we go. Well, yeah, if you're going 90% cacao, then you're pretty high, which is great. Yeah, there's a lot of nutritional benefits to cacao. And the higher the percentage of the cacao, the better it is for you. It's more bitter, but better for you. Um, Brian says, I found a great soy and linseed bread here is great. Okay. I don't know much about that. I don't know much about that bread at all. I'm sure you could teach me a few things there, Brian. Josh said, the only chocolate I know is Reese's. uh, yeah, I don't touch Reese's. Sorry, Josh. That's okay. Everybody is in control. The only person that's in control of me is myself. That's it. Jay Boy says, LOL, Josh Wilson Reese is definitely hard to resist. Yeah, I remember. But see, they could make clean versions of Reese's. They could make clean versions of a lot of things if they just tweak some ingredients and like some of the dyes that they use on the shells of M&Ms and M's and stuff. It's like red this or yellow this, and there's like they're poisonous. It's like they don't need to be in there. They do it for a reason. Uh, Never heard of chocolate percentages. Yeah, it's in cacao. It's like the strength, I guess, like the how you say, maybe like the density, the higher, more, I guess. Like when I eat 70%, it still tastes a little sweet. So there's just a little sweetness in it to offset the bitterness because all chocolate without sugar is bitter. Um, but the higher the concentration, I guess you say, of cacao, the more nutritional benefits there are to that, if I'm explaining that correctly. But Google cacao. Gosh, there you go. Jet says, have you tried tablia? Hmm. Tablia is a Filipino product made from pure ground roasted cacao beans that are molded into discs or balls and is traditionally used to make a rich hot chocolate drink. I would probably know about that is Che. Um, Now I know there's cacao like farms, like like sugarcane fields here. They have cacao stuff, but I don't know much about it or like what you're talking about. But I'd be interested in learning about it. Brian says I do organic drip coffee in the morning with cayenne and cinnamon. Turmeric, turmeric or whatever is another good thing. I'm not saying to put it to your coffee. I just do some of these shots with like vitamin C, different juices, and then add turmeric. You need black pepper with that to help absorption. What else is in there? There's like Bragg's apple cider vinegar. I'd put in that. Either squeeze lemon or lime. This is when I did it at home. Um, Good for digestion, good for a lot of things. Gut health is a big problem with people in the world. Um, Again, back to what you eat in your diet. You have two brains, one here and the one in your gut. If one of them doesn't work right, you're going to have problems. Either way. Jay Boy says, Brian, that sounds nice. Brian says, I love the tambourine lollies there. They're dear here. Josh says, I still need to try this mushroom coffee. Yeah. Everyday dose is what I take. And like I said, you don't taste mushrooms. It doesn't smell like mushrooms. It's good. But then there's the competitive. That's the everyday dose is that brand. The other competitive one that they actually and have more coffee in it, which I looked on Amazon because I can get everyday dose here on Amazon because it's an American company. Papa does not ship here to the Philippines because I wanted to try it because my father likes it a little more because there's more coffee in it. But it's an instant type thing. You don't have to use a filter. It's all instant with water. It's all natural, bunch of amino acids in it, L-theanine. Like I said, you're always even keel with the coffee. There's no like caffeine boost and then the crash. You're always like this. Least everyday doses. And I think Cuppa is, but I think that's Kuppa. But yeah, I was disappointed I can't get it here in the Philippines. But I live by that. Like I drink coffee out here in a coffee shop, but I will get up every morning and make my mushroom coffee, add hot water, add honey, and either drink it black or I add a little bit of milk. Good to go. J Boy says you get used to the bitterness of the dark chocolate the longer you eat it, and you eventually actually look for the taste. You're exactly right, J Boy. Exactly. Yeah, I can eat 100, but I don't eat 100 as often. The highest I probably recently went regularly was probably like 90 something, but normally it's 70 to 80 something percent. Um, Brian says, yes, it is a great way to start the day, but I'm trying to make it my second drink. I'm doing chia and fresh fruit and kefir shakes. See, chia seeds are the bomb too. Like, see, and that's what I miss about my granola because there are chia seeds. I mean, this granola had everything. It was called Simply, I think it's called Simply something. I have to find the name and let you guys know, whoever's in the States, or maybe you can get it outside the Philippines. This granola was the bomb that I ate with my yogurt. I miss my A2. It was like Bulgarian yogurt I would get in the States. No sugar at all. Bulgarian yogurt. This was like my ice cream, my dessert. Bulgarian yogurt, wild blueberries that were frozen on the top of the yogurt, honey, raw honey on top of that, granola, which had chia seeds in it, coconut sugar was in the granola, pumpkin seeds, raw pumpkin seeds are the bomb, good for you, loaded with zinc and many other things. And the granola, and that was it. But there were chia seeds within the granola. Ah, man. See, that's one thing I miss about the US. I don't have my, I won't even talk about, but goat kefir and whatever like that. That's good in shakes. Another thing, you need the whatchamacallit from yogurt. It helps with digestion. Greek yogurt, but sugarless. J boy, I think you should do healthy content. You have plenty of knowledge to share, and I'm sure there's an audience for that. I mean, I know a little bit. I don't. I'm sure there's somebody that knows a hell of a lot more than me, but I'm always open to learning. Um, but again, like I said, I could talk about that sometime. Who's ever interested in it, whatever questions, I'm either going to know the answer, or I'm not. And if I've eaten a certain thing in a consistent manner, I can at least tell you what results I've had. You're not going to eat something once and then have instantaneous results. It doesn't happen like that. Um, Brian says, "Yeah, I'm looking for around for some mushroom tea." I don't know if there's mushroom. I wouldn't be surprised why there wouldn't be. Um, Brian says, "Yep, I agree." J Boy says, "Never had mushroom coffee. Very interesting." Now, I've know people that have talked about mushroom coffee that they got that was a completely different version of what I had. Smells like mushrooms, tastes like mushrooms. They said it was awful. I'm sure maybe it would be awful. Mine smells like it's this everyday dose, everyday dose, and then there's another one called Cuppa, Cuppa. Those are the only two that I know that stand alone. J Boy says maybe I should start a granola business in the Philippines. I love granola and make my own. Damn, that sounds good. I'll eat it. I'll be a buyer. I'll be a buyer. Josh says every day do some Black Friday sale, but too expensive. Actually, I got that. You know what though, Josh? I know you think it seems expensive, but take it down to the effect of like what it would be for 1 cup a day based on the price. Um, And again, it's one of those things you have to remember, Josh. The stuff that's more expensive is typically better for you. That's the world we live in. And but again, I get it. If it's too expensive, then yeah, don't get it. But you can always just get it once and try it to experience it. I've actually taken some into the local coffee shops because people have wanted to try it. Couple people working in like one coffee shop, a couple owners of another one wanted to try it. They were impressed with it. I was kind of worried. They smelled it first and they tasted, they liked it. But again, yeah, like I ordered three of them because it's a lot cheaper now. I think it was like $30 because I had a, like when I got it in the US, it was a continuous, I got it monthly. But yeah, it was on sale on Amazon for the Black Friday thing. It was down to 30, I think, for a bag, which is a lot cheaper for here in the Philippines than what it I could get it cheaper, I think, in the US. I can't remember. But so it's just like, all right, so $30 a bag, you're looking at $1 a day for a cup of coffee. Um, I'd certainly spend more than that on a cup of coffee going out somewhere. Um, yeah, it all comes down to what you're willing to spend, but I get it, Josh. Um, Brian says, I found out recently that you need to prepare chia seeds for soaking. Yep, or at least, but the way they do it, I don't know what they do with it in granola because obviously you're not, it's incorporating the ingredients in the granola. So I don't know what they do to it because you're eating it right away and you're not soaking it in anything. But I think if you're getting fresh chia seeds, yeah, you put them in water and you see they kind of expand. And I think it makes it easier for digestion. So I don't know what process they go through before they actually put it in granola. Um, yeah, otherwise they just go through. Mushroom tea is here, but I want to find the right one. And that's yeah, that's another way. You got to find the right one. I drink chamomile dust. I've had that peppermint tea before bed. So yeah, you're knowledgeable, Brian. You know about all these different teas and the health benefits. Some of them help you sleep. Some of them help with digestion. Some of them help with anxiety and stress. You don't need to be popping anything. You can, yeah, there's natural teas for a lot of that stuff. Uh, Josh says I drink 6 to 8 cups at work and 4 to 6 cups at home. That might be a problem, and maybe that would be kind of expensive. That's the one thing about mushroom coffee. You can drink as many as you want, and you don't really have any. lingering side effects, whether the highs and the lows from the caffeine. Some people run into acid reflux, acid problems from regular coffee, drinking too much. That's another problem people have. Well, gut issues, stomach issues, um, from the acidity from the coffee. So, yeah, that would probably be kind of expensive. You drank 6 to 8. What was I drinking at home? Because it was easily more accessible for me at home. I was drinking 2 to 3 cups of everyday dose coffee at home. Here, I only drink one, just because it's takes forever for me to get it here, and I don't want to go through it so quickly because then I have to wait so long. I'm on my last bag now, and I don't think I'm gonna make it until the order. I ordered 3 bags because it was on that Black Friday sale. J Boy says they make it hard to be healthy by pricing it out high. Yeah, of course. Yep, you're exactly right. And it's easy to see. You just have to realize it and notice it. Uh, yeah. Why is everything is healthy for you cost so much more? Brian says, geez, coffee at a cafe here is at least $5. Yeah, I don't know what it is in the US. Like I said, it's been a long time since I had a Starbucks coffee in US or just any other coffee shop in the US. If I can remember back getting a grande, let's just say I don't know, less sugar, because once I started getting smarter, I definitely got away from Starbucks. But if you're going to get like an expensive peppermint mocha latte, just a double espresso grande, I don't know, I think it's like $5, $6 or more. Here, at least if you go to Starbucks, I think it's like $3. It's like half, or I could be wrong, but I thought that's what it was like. Um, it's like 200 to 200 pesos. I might be off, but the coffee shop I go to here, But First Coffee, for a less sugar mocha latte is 120, 130. And if I go to the really small coffee shop that's good but very inexpensive on the Cohi on the other end of Silliman College here, it's like 90 pesos. Uh, J Boy says, "Is that coffee, Josh Wilson? Whoa, how much he drinks." Brian says, "I limit my coffee to 2 cups a day." Yeah, mine's two. If I go three, it's a small one, but I try to drink my coffee no later than 2 p.m., which I already had my second one from a coffee shop in my mush, so I won't have any more. Like if I drink one now, it would just screw up my whole sleeping. I can sleep, I just wake up a lot. So it screws up my whole sleeping pattern. So I don't drink usually past two is the latest. I try to be before one, but usually they say caffeine stays in your system for up to 8 hours from the time you drink the last one. At least that's what they say. And knowing my body, I can agree with that. It hangs around for a while. And oat milk. Yeah, if I had, I was all about the raw milk. I could get the raw milk, and that's all me. Like if I could get heavy cream, raw milk, raw cream, or whatever. Josh says, yes, I came home, drank a few, and dozed off 7 p.m. last night. Got up at midnight, had a cup of coffee, went back to bed. Yeah, some people can just sleep right through it. Again, I don't know if you're just waking up at midnight because it's disrupting your sleep. I'm not sure, or that's just how it works for you. I know a lot of people that say that coffee doesn't even keep them awake. They don't think. J Boy says coffee does have antioxidants, so I do drink sometimes, and I drink mostly tea. I'll look into the mushroom coffee. Yeah, antioxidants for sure. Brian says Starbucks is at best mediocre. Yeah, I was just using that as a comparison. Yeah, I got caught up in that stupid stuff. Like I don't. It's just uh, hot chocolate, sugary hot chocolate to me. Jay Boy says, "How do you even sleep, Josh Wilson? You must have interrupted sleep." Yeah, yeah, he's grown immune to it. Some people can do it. Gave up soda for coffee. Wow, I think that's a smart move. If you're gonna have one or the other, I definitely would lean towards coffee over soda. Bill says, "Wow, I drink coffee night and day." And you obviously have a tolerance too. I guess it doesn't. Some people, I guess, are just immune to it. I mean, obviously, you get something out of it, but it doesn't affect you enough, I guess, to really disrupt your anything. You feel pretty good. J Boy says, Josh Wilson, do you get the shakes when you don't have coffee? Yeah, withdrawal. If I'm not working, I'm always drowsy. Uh, Brian says, and I don't drink soft drinks, only soda water. Yeah, soda water's fine. That's good, actually. Some of the carbonation can be helpful, actually. The bubbles, at least 2 liters a day. J Boy says, have you tried raw Carabao milk yet? I'm like, no, I have not. Um, I'm sure it would be probably good, but I haven't had the opportunity to drink that yet. Josh says, I know I don't eat healthy. What's a vegetable? I eat a lot of cucumbers. Cucumbers, carrots, and tomatoes is probably the most. If I can get some good romaine here and there, the restaurant salad, I do eat that. But as long as I'm incorporating cucumbers in my diet daily, that's like one of the things that I mainly eat as far as vegetable goes. Um, Fruit, it's bananas, obviously, um, mangoes, pineapples, basically those three here. Um, oh, Brian's asking him about what's that like, J Boy, for that raw milk. Um, Bill says, I've been drinking coffee for 65 years. I haven't been drinking coffee for that long, but I do like it. It's one of my pleasures in life, and there are health benefits to coffee. It's kind of like depends on what you're adding to it that I guess can cause problems. And Jay Boy's laughing at Josh. Wow, Bill Mahler, your body definitely is used to it. Yeah. Jay Boy says that milk is delicious. I'd try it. And Brian says, okay, I'll try it next visit. He tried the steak, but it was tough as leather. Huh. Jay Boy says, we used to have raw Carabao milk for breakfast in the province. My mom would literally milk the Carabao in the morning to serve it for breakfast. Now that's his best. That's the best milk, right from the cow. That's the best. You don't need that stuff pasteurized. It's got all the nutritional value right in there. Hey, Chris Scott, welcome. Right now, I'm currently in Dumaguete, Philippines, hanging out, doing a live stream a lot longer than I thought I was going to do. But I'm in a place called the Boulevard in Dumaguete. Sunday, 3:53 p.m. in the afternoon in Dumaguete, Philippines. You can't see too far beyond here, but there's a big festival and stuff going on this weekend. But yeah, welcome to my live stream, Chris. Where are you from, Chris? Welcome. My name is Michael from the United States. Brian says, I'm not a fan of pineapples here because I work in AG and I know the amount of chemicals on them. Oh, I don't know what I mean. I'm assuming the pineapples we're getting here are organic and not sprayed, but I honestly can't be 100% sure. Um, Bananas, you never really have to worry about whether they're organic or not because the skin protects the banana. That's crap from getting inside. From what I was told, bananas are usually a safe fruit. Um, Brian says, yeah, I used to milk 4 cows every morning years ago. That'd be the best darn milk right from the cow. But live fresh pineapple juice in the Philippines when they're okay, agriculture. All right. Well, guys, I think you've kind of had your fill of me again. And I appreciate Chris Scott. But you're more than welcome to join the live stream again. I plan on making some videos too of my journey of being a foreigner from the United States and the Philippines. But things are starting to pick up now. It's getting a little later. The food will be cooking and being made, prepared. Things are starting to open up now. Um, Oh, yes, right, Josh. Apartment video. You're right. That Siki horror videos. But yeah, I'm gonna do the apartment. I'm gonna do everything that's there, the pool, the gym. I'm gonna show you everything, and then go into the apartment. My little people might call it a guinea pig cage, but it's definitely a small studio. But for me, that's all you need. Let me see where you go here. So yeah, Brian says, "Yep, fresh as that milk." Josh, apartment video. Brian says, "See you, Michael. Thanks for your company, mate." Hey, thanks for yours. Bill says, "Fresh cream from that milk makes good ice cream." I agree. That's the best stuff and with health benefits. Pasteurized milk cooks out all the freaking good stuff. It removes it. Uh, Jay Boy says, "Take care all." Brian says, "Yep, Bill, bye all." Again, thank you guys for being with me. Appreciate, my gosh, this time, total time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys give me reason to look forward to the next live stream. And yes, Josh, apartment video, as well as other videos. I got to get cranking. So until the next time, guys, God bless all of you. Hope to see you again. And love you guys. Thanks for being here. Seriously, you make my Philippine life and journey much more enjoyable. Smiling every day. So take care, you guys. God bless you. Till the next time. See ya.